Okay, right, this is how you vectorize your artwork. So, let's open Illustrator. Let's get a new document. We're going to make it, if you're going to do it on t-shirts, it's got to be print, so everything's in CMYK. So let's do that, and let's bring in the artwork. So we're going to place that in, and it's there on my desktop. So let's just dump that in, make it a little smaller. And pop it there, and what we're going to do is lock the selection, which means that when I draw all over it, it's not going to move it all over the place. So what we're going to do is start by creating the shape of the mouth and eyes, and what we'll do is actually just make half of it, and then it'll be symmetrical because we'll stitch it together. So let's start by selecting the pen tool and putting one point in, select another point and click and drag, and you get this kind of like handle. Now to make a circle or any sort of oval shape, you're going to need 4 points max, 4 points minimum. And you can see what Illustrator is trying to do is it's trying to predict where it wants to go. So I mean, it's roughly there. Now, what's the good point is you can't just click, because if I just click now, it's made a straight point, and you're going to get this edge. We don't want that. We want it to keep it nice and smooth. So when you click and drag, and you'll get another handle just like that. Again, click and drag it. It's not quite right. We might need to do some extra points just because your artwork's a bit more bespoke. So let's do it like that, and do it like that, and then start coming down here. So you can see the last point I made, I just clicked because I want it to start changing direction now. So we'll do that again, just click there, and then I can move this handle to sort of predict where I want to go, which is sort of roughly this direction. And you can see Illustrator is trying to predict where the curve's going to go. We'll start another point here. So you can see that wasn't quite right actually. I'm going to turn the fill off. There's the swatches here, so we can just turn the fill colour off, so it's just black lines that we're drawing. And what I can do now is holding Alt, the tool changes, and I can just drag that point and just line it up perfectly, just like that. And I can continue drawing, and I think we'll just, like I said, go down to halfway. We'll just eyeball it. Just like that, and then let's make a straight point up here and continue back up the other direction. So clicking and dragging, making that curved handle. Let's just do that again. Sometimes if you make them too big, you can't kind of get the right trajectory for the next point. So let's do that, and hopefully that should just work. Not bad. I'm not sure I like the shape of this at the top here, so we can just keep it. We can adjust that now. If you click on the right arrow, you can select each point and kind of just fiddle around with it until you're happy. Just make sure it's kind of right and nice and organic looking. Maybe let's bring that in a little. That doesn't look too bad. So there it is with half the mouth. Now we're going to need to like copy this over. So all I did there was holding Alt. You can make a duplicate of it, just like that. Alt, click and drag will make a duplicate of it, and then we'll just right click it and transform and reflect it the other direction. Let's reflect it vertically. Drag that over to there, and it will snap towards. Right, it will snap the points so that it's directly on it. And then what we can do is select both of them. And in Window and Pathfinder, I've already got it open, and it's around here, and that's a line. Pathfinder, if we click this one here, which looks like the shapes are moulding together, that's now made it a solid shape, so I can now give that a colour fill, so we can say that's sort of done, and you can see it's absolutely mirrored it. Now your artwork's not absolutely mirrored, but this will look better, I think, on the t-shirt ultimately. Maybe at this point we could select this and bring this point down a little bit, making those top bits thinner, which might make it look a little better. Okay, so obviously the eyes are just simple ovals, so select on the shape tool, and you can, if you click and hold, it will bring out a fly menu, and you can just click and drag out a shape like that. If we rotate that, holding shift, it will do it by 45-degree increments. and we can just line that up just like that. Holding Alt again, drag out a duplicate. So there we go. So that's basically our basic shapes. Now let's put that to one side. We're going to need that in a bit. Now what we need to try and do is click and drag on the shape tool again, so you can select a rectangle this time, and we're going to just eyeball it. Let's make a new colour, take off the stroke, let's make that one blue. And what we'll do is set 2 of these up to be the correct width, like that. Let's make it green so we can see it. And then what we'll do is, with both of them selected, holding Alt, it will just snap now all the way down. And you can select more at the time, continue going like that. Oops, you've got to make sure they snap on, otherwise it won't be accurate. Okay, maybe we'll just have 2 more. Perfect. Okay, so what we'll do now is select one of the green ones and then come up to select at the top there and say select same fill colour, and that will now select all of the green ones and we can make them just white. There we go. Okay, what we'll do now actually is also select all of the blue ones, select the same fill colour, and what we're going to do is make these into a compound shape. The reason we're going to do that is because we're going to throw a gradient through it, and if you didn't make it a compound shape, what would happen is when you click on a gradient, each one would have their own separate one. In fact, if I change the direction of the gradient, or at least it used to do that. Maybe they've updated Illustrator now. Let's have a look. Yeah, so they've each got their own separate gradients. So if I were to rotate the gradient, for example, how can I rotate all of the gradients? I don't think I can. But you can see they're all separate, and we don't want that. We want them to act as one single shape. So we're going to say Object, Compound Path, Make, and then we're going to hit the gradient button again. And the difference is this time, when I go and try and, so there we go, so we've just got one gradient, you can see that, and now I can just move this around however I like. So that's that. And then what we're going to do is edit the gradient. So you can see on the gradient itself, you've got these little knots, and I can move the knots however I like. If I hit Alt over a knot, it will duplicate a knot. And so now I've got 3 knots, obviously going from, 2 of them are black, 1 of them's white. What we want to do is make the top one, in fact we'll come over to the gradient palette now because it's probably a little bit easier to manage. If we select the first knot, which is blue, which we need to be blue, we can do that, and then we'll take that knot, actually we'll leave that knot there, we'll click on that one and duplicate it again. Now these bits up here will make the gradient sharper, so I've noticed on your artwork, if we just move this all over so we can see what's going on, there is quite a sharp gradient going through the middle. So what we'll do, is make sure that that is, oh yeah, we can eyedrop the right colours as well, we can do that. So let's just do that, so that's red, and put that in our palette, and the blue, and let's put that in our palette. Just drag it from there into there, that'll make it a proper swatch, and then we can use it wherever we like. So back on the gradient then, so let's click on that and make sure that's back on there. Let's make it the right orientation. So click on the gradient tool and come over to the side, and you'll see it changes to like a rotating tool. We can do that. Holding shift will rotate it in increments of 45 degrees, and then I can just drag that and make it like up there, or maybe that's a bit far. Let's make it the same height as this, and then we know we can play with it properly inside here. So now we know that that middle bit is going to be right in this palette here. So making these red, let's just grab the red and drag it onto that knot. And let's drag it onto that knot, and drag it onto that knot, and then let's grab the blue and drag it onto that knot. So what we've got to do now is just adjust the knots to make it kind of look as it does, and that's about right. My only concern when you're printing this on a t-shirt is that it goes quite muddy in there. You might like that, you might not. To get around that, I would try and make the gradient sharper. So maybe drag another blue one down, and there you go, you can see it's kind of getting sharper. Oops. If you want to get rid of the knots, actually, you can have, maybe you've got too many, you can just click on and just drag them away, and they'll just disappear. So maybe let's bring that out again like that. I quite liked it actually. Let's leave it like that. Okay, so anyway, that's that bit done. So we're getting there now. You can see we're getting there. So what we'll do now is make the vertical lines. They've obviously got to be the same size, so we'll drag a white one out of there, holding Alt again to duplicate it. And we'll just like eyeball these up. Make that one blue. Drag another white one out. Drag another blue one out. And that's that. So now we've got the verticals. Let's leave that to one side and group it together. Just pressing Apple G will group it together. Okay, we're starting to get the elements together pretty well now. Let's group all that together because that's the white and the gradient. And we'll just put that back in the middle so we can see what we're doing. So, okay, let's bring the face back on. And we're going to use this face as a mask, basically, as a clipping group mask. So what we'll do, first of all, is we'll line up all of our verticals where we need them. And now let's just do the red ones. You can see it's having trouble snapping there, I don't know why. There we go. There we go. Okay, so unfortunately we've got to click on these blue ones manually. If I select them all and press Command Shift G, it will ungroup everything. So I can now select them manually, and then we just want the blue ones. And we're going to make that red. There we go. And let's group that back together again. Okay, and just fling it to the back. And the way we're going to fling it to the back is by pressing Command Shift and close bracket, square brackets. So let's just pop that to the back, and we'll do the same with those two. Oh, not selecting the actual eyes. Let's pop that to the back. And now, if I select the eye and the stripes all at once now, and then right click and say make clipping mask, you can see it's just clipped all of that into it. Let's do that again, make clipping mask, and again with all of this, make clipping mask. There we go, and then what we can do is just group that together and move it over to here. And bring it to the front by pressing Command Shift and open bracket. And there we go. Let's just check that with the original to make sure that we're kind of on par. And I think actually my lines going through the mouth are a little bit wide. That's okay. We can just pull this face back out, and we can double click inside here, and we can select all of the lines. Oops, sorry, it's double click inside here, select all the lines, because I made a few too many, just in anticipation of it being a bit wrong. We can just do that and sort of get it lined up properly. I think that's almost there. Let's pop that back on. Oh no, I was looking at my old one. Let's just pop that back on. Oh, that's not too far away. And it will snap it to the centre there, just like that. And there we go. Boom, one vectorised acid vase. And let's just make my artboard the right size. There we go. Oh, let's unlock everything and just centralise it all. There we go, so we've got the painting on the right and the vectors on the left.